Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 144 of Roundabout Sports, presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media and Harsh Construction LLC, with over 50 years of combined experience in your landscaping and healthcare needs. Be sure to call for a quote today. We'll have that number up there shortly. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It is Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. I'm the Maestro Jeremy Karp, alongside my good friend AB Austin Bradley himself. Austin, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back.
It's good to have you back, and it's good that we are back on StreamYard. We figure, you know what? Why change something that ain't broken, right? We're having a lot of fun. There's a lot to talk about today. And I want to kick it off by talking about where some of the things about the Elite Sports Show and the Daily Roundup. Now, I'm not going to be talking about it because it is yours and Jordan's wonderful creation. So tell us a little bit about the Elite Sports Show and the Daily Roundup, and when you guys air, and where they can find you guys.
Yeah. So the Elite Sports Show, we'll start there, is kind of it's a weekly show. I hate to give you a set time because sometimes it can go really anywhere from about 30 minutes to an hour and a half, depending upon what's going on in the sports world that particular week. I know this week's show will be a lot. So anyway, it airs on Fridays. On Friday morning at 9 o'clock, it is a pre-recorded, edited show. That way, just to kind of clean things up. The Daily Roundup will actually be live. And that is Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central Time. You can find it on YouTube, Facebook, X, TikTok, all the above. And yeah, super excited. Super excited to announce this. This is, I think, the first time we're announcing it. That the Elite Sports Show and the Daily Roundup is now a part of Interstate 70 Sports Media. And we are super pumped. And I'm thankful to Jeremy and Barbie and all of the guys here for giving us the opportunity.
Well, it is a great pleasure of ours to have you and Jordan as a part of our family. This is something that's especially special for all of us. So, folks, for those of you that are just joining us for the first time, first off, where have you been? This is literally episode 144. But if you are just joining us, Roundabout Sports can be found on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, and all other streaming platforms. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, on X, and on the Interstate 70 Sports Media YouTube channel, where you'll see all the great shows we have, such as the Blues Fan Forum podcast, soon to be the Elite Sports Show and Daily Roundup, and also soon the main event with Babs and Austin. Another great show that well, I was going to say, but it runs the gamut on the amount of great programming we got in store on the network for the future. So with all that said, we just got done with week 1 of the NFL season. And in some ways, it was great for me. My fantasy team somehow won, even though Xavier Worthy got hurt 2 plays into the game. Mainly because Derrick Henry is literally the GOAT. And also in some ways it wasn't great, like, Browns receivers and not knowing how to catch in Cleveland, and they lose to the Bengals by a point. But that's beside the point, and the kicker can't make a kick to save his life. Once again, besides the point. Folks, I want to thank you all so much as we are about to get started with our lovely NFL coverage. Now, we're going to start it off, of course, with the season opener, which happened the day after we were already live on the air with episode 143, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles against the Dallas Cowboys. And from the start, Austin, there was already craziness that happened. One play in, we talk about things that happened right at the beginning of the game. Well, one play in, Jalen Carter already had gotten ejected from the game for spitting on Dallas quarterback Dak Prescott. Yeah, and keep in mind, folks, he has been fined $57,000 plus, but he will not be suspended because they consider his being ejected for that whole game the suspension. Austin, your thoughts on that?
Oh man, when I saw that happen, dude, I was like, "There's no way." I looked at my wife, who's nearly not even a football fan, and I was like, "There's no way." And yeah, he deserved to get kicked out. He deserved to be ejected. I think that Dak Prescott spit first, though. Like, I'm buying into that.
Oh, he
like,
did.
And I mean, now 2 wrongs don't make a right. That's how I've always been taught growing up. But where's the punishment for Dak Prescott at? Is my question, especially fair enough. That's actually really fair. That's a good point. Never mind. We'll go ahead and let him play. That's his punishment. He has to play. But no, I in all seriousness, I do think I don't think that can happen, man. You got to punish him, and I think it's fair. I think he didn't get to play at all, so no need to extend it. You find him, what was it? Did you say $57,000?
Yeah, over 57,000.
Which is, by the way, just saying, is it just me, or is 57,000 kind of an oddball number?
Oh, it is so random. But here's the thing: I look at it like, and I know the court system's different, but people that go to prison for life sentences, and it's 476 consecutive life sentences, and I'm thinking to myself, wait, what? How does that work? Like, just say the guy's in life in prison, rotting away. Like, so yeah, it's a very random number, 57,000. And I figured they wouldn't suspend him, if anything, for maybe one other game. But they even showed on the replays, Austin, and you were absolutely right about this. Dak did spit first. He spit on, but the difference is he spit on the turf, as opposed to literally on Jalen Carter.
Oh,
so that
Carter.
No, he spit, and the replays did show this. He spit on the turf, and Jalen Carter went through the huddle. And then got in his face, and then all that's disgusting stuff. And you can't. That's just so disrespectful, man. And it's not right. And then Philly went out there. Dallas was actually looking really good at first. Offensively, and then Philly just ended up, it was a good back and forth game. And then the third quarter hit, and we got an hour and 5-minute weather delay. Now, my dad goes, how are they having a weather delay in football? And I'm thinking, well, yeah, it's true. With rain and snow and stuff, you can play. Lightning, on the other hand, yeah, when there's lightning and severe storms in the area, you can't play. And that was why they delayed the game. And it's funny because I told my fiance I'd stay awake for the rest of the game. And yeah, about halfway through the fourth or early on in the fourth, I ended up falling asleep on the couch because I just it was ugh. And the Eagles end up winning 24-20 in what was at first an amazing game and then turned into a bore snooze fest. Which brings us to the next night, Friday Night Football in Brazil, of all places. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Austin, I'm letting you take the floor on this one because there's a lot that went down on this game that has a lot of people talking.
Okay. First and foremost, I need to just take a second, and I need to say one thing that has nothing to do with this game specifically, okay?
Okay.
You can't watch that game and see the absolute hell that Jesse Minter's defense had Kansas City in and then tell me that Michigan only won the national championship because they stole signs. Anyway.
God forbid you take a couple signs, and that's the reason you win the whole national championship. No, Michigan won that championship.
Anyway,
and
totally random.
Taking that away.
Also, first of all, you hate for the Chiefs to see Xavier Worthy go down. That is going to hurt them, I think, deeply on Sunday afternoon in the Super Bowl rematch. But listen, Travis Kelce might have left his engagement photo session a little bit too late and forgot to get to the Chiefs practice. Because what in the world was he doing out there? Good night. His route running was so bad. It was so bad. And honestly, I don't know. First of all, in all seriousness, I'm not one of those Travis and Taylor haters. If they're happy, I'm happy for them. Whatever. But that was a joke. But at the same time, Travis Kelce did not play well Friday night.
No, Travis Kelce did not. And also Babs, the amazing Babs herself, tuning in. We've established this before. Babs is actually working alongside AB himself over here with a new show on Interstate 70 Sports Media that's going to be airing every Monday. So we're definitely excited about that. And I know more details, especially including the guests that will be on, as Babs has been working tirelessly to get guests on board. And they've been gracious enough to accept the invitations. But once again, that is for the future, future. You don't want to spoil too much at once. And she's so excited. And this is the thing. I've loved having her as my co-host on here. She's always welcome back. This was a decision she made. And she's on. Her comments are here. So she's, fully aware, and she's okay with it because she believes in you, Austin, and I believe in you, in our sports knowledge together and our friendship. So, you and Babs are going to kick so much ass on the main event on Mondays, and we're going to do the same thing here every Wednesday night. And I look so forward to it.
Whenever that whole conversation come up, just kind of without going too much into detail, but some inside baseball stuff, whenever that conversation kind of come up last week about maybe me stepping into this role, I told you, like, the last thing I want to do is be the guy that just comes in and is the new kid on the block and just kind of ramrods everything. But I appreciate the faith that you guys have in me. Same thing with you, Barbie. I know that this main event show that we're fixing to fire up is going to be great. I'm super thrilled to work with you and excited to be working with you, Jeremy. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think this is a partnership that, and even with the Elite Sports Show and the Daily Roundup, and maybe this is something we should have covered at the beginning, but I think this is a partnership that's going to last for a long time.
I absolutely believe so, and I look forward to every single second of it. With all that said, so we're talking about last Friday night with the Chiefs and Chargers. Chiefs came out looking so flat on offense. And you hit the nail on the head right there about Travis Kelce. It wasn't until a big garbage time play happened that Travis Kelce even did anything.
Right.
So for Mahomes didn't look bad. The team just looked sluggish. To me, the most exciting part of the Chiefs' offense was that 59-yard field goal that Harrison Butker kicked that nobody expected him to make because it was so spontaneous. And
you missed a field goal too, didn't you?
He did miss a field goal. And you know what's funny? You bring up Jesse Minter's defense. It was not just the fact that the offense for Los Angeles was clicking on all cylinders. It was definitely the defense, which the Chargers are not always known for, stepping up big time in all aspects of the game. And yes, Xavier Worthy being taken out, it was an incidental hit by Travis Kelce, on the first drive, definitely changed the pace of a lot of things. But the fact remains that the Chiefs are now 0-1. They're in Arrowhead in Kansas City this upcoming week against the Eagles, opening up as underdogs to the defending Super Bowl champions. And it's completely understandable why. The Eagles look like they haven't lost a beat, while obviously the Chiefs looked extremely sluggish heading out of the gates on week 1 on Friday night.
I do want to say one thing, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, go for it.
Something to think about with the Chiefs, and I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm a Vikings fan, and we're going to talk about them here. Something about the Chiefs. It wasn't but a couple years ago I watched them lose to the Ravens on opening night and then go on and win the Super Bowl. So it's not.
Oh, you mean I remember the Lions.
Huh?
I remember that line. Yeah, it was the Lions.
I thought it was the Ravens.
It might have been the Ravens too. Hell, they went back to back. I just remember the game they lost to the Lions opening night in Arrowhead to Detroit. Brian Branch had the pick 6 and everything. And that was the year they beat the Niners in overtime in the Super Bowl. And so, no, I absolutely
It was the year
agree
before that. I think it was the year before that.
So anything can happen. It is just week 1. I think, though, the problem is that the last thing you ever want to do is start out slow. And with the Raiders winning and the Broncos winning, on top of already losing a divisional game, that doesn't help. Now, we're going to flash forward through Sunday. Sunday had a lot of great games, a lot of close calls, a lot of fights to the finish. I know Micah Parsons had a huge debut for the Packers in Green Bay. Speaking of the Lions, absolutely stifling Detroit. But then we get to Sunday night. Oh, man, Sunday night. Baltimore. Whoo-wee. Now, I want to say this. I am a Cleveland Browns fan through and through. But when I say that I would be worried for Cleveland this week when they face Baltimore, because Baltimore is probably going in there extremely pissed off that they just blew a 40-25 lead with 4.5 to go in the game. On top of the fact, and this was to me the biggest thought process of this whole game. Baltimore and Buffalo, they faced off in the divisional round last year. And Baltimore barely lost that game. Well, my thing of it is, you take a look at this, we could have just watched an AFC Championship game preview. That game we just watched on Sunday night could very well have determined already home field advantage. One game makes a big difference. You know this. Look at the NFC North. The Lions had to win 15 games last year to win the division. They didn't just win 15 games. 15 games is what it took to win the division. The Vikings won 14, and they got a wild card.
Yep.
So, the way I look at it is Baltimore is going to be kicking themselves in the backside for a lot of reasons more down the road because they lost this game. And it's not like they didn't even – they just collapsed. And this is John Harbaugh's 17th double-digit blown lead in the fourth quarter, which is the most of any head coach since 1991. And when you think of a lot of the coaches in the league since then, you would not expect John Harbaugh to be that guy. But Austin, I want you to think about this for a second, and you tell me what you think based off watching that game. Do you think the Ravens went from playing to win to playing not to lose? Because that's what I sure think.
So I'm a big believer in sports psychology, actually, and I think at times we see this almost where that happens unintentionally, and I think that's what happened to Baltimore Sunday night. I don't think they intentionally. I mean, Lamar's been there too many times, right? He's a 2-time MVP for crying out loud. Oh. But I think what happens is you have a situation where, just momentum just builds, and then they're in Buffalo, and Buffalo's stadium. This is the last year for their stadium, and they're ramped up and they're excited, and then it just snowballs, and then you get to about the fourth quarter, and you get to this mindset of like, oh brother, here we go again. And I think that's what happened. I don't think that it's one of those deals where, yes, they absolutely, they were like, all right, let's just play conservative and try to win this game. And then, oops, no, I don't believe that. I think it just, as the game wore on, that's what happened. And I think that also happened Monday night too, but I know we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. And that's funny because you bring it up. And I love that Matt Prater, who's been in the league since 2006. I was in, what grade was I in when Matt Prater was first in the league? 2006. I was probably sixth grade. So when Matt Prater comes in, you were in what?
Kindergarten.
Oh, sweet mercy. Oh, I feel old. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, yeah, that is saying something. Imagine. Ugh. Well, anyway, yeah. Matt Prater having a long, great, distinguished career, one of the greatest long distance kickers in NFL history, comes in on the red just days before the game, has no idea who half the team is. And he goes out there, is perfect from extra points, perfect on field goals, including the game winner as time expires. And the Bills win 41 over Baltimore in what was, to me, one of the most fun games I've watched in a long time. And it's funny because, once again, to go to the fantasy thing, I got Derrick Henry on my fantasy team, and I told my best friend, I said, hey, obviously, being a Browns fan, I don't want the Ravens to win. Wouldn't it be funny if Henry goes off and the Ravens still lose? Double winner.
No way.
I was like, yes. So then, like you said, we go to Monday night. Oh, man. The Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, let me just say, there was a lot of hype surrounding this Bears team, okay? There is a lot of hype. Ben Johnson going from the Lions OC to literally the Bears head coach. Then you have the upgrade in offensive line that Caleb Williams supposedly had. Just the overall change of the landscape. The Bears team, at least on paper, was looking good. So explain to me how we go from Baltimore choking a big lead to Chicago choking a 17-6 third quarter lead, only to lose 27-24. And before I get your thoughts on this, because I know you enjoyed it, enjoyed seeing that victory with J.J. McCarthy especially. Can I just say, DJ Moore got the hell rocked out of him at the end of that game in that play in the red zone. And the fact he got up, commendable. I'm glad he's doing better, but holy crap. That was a downright, in the trenches game. It was once again another fun game where, in this case, the home team choked away the game. So, Austin, AB, from the standpoint of, I guess, the SKOL crowd, take us through that game on Monday.
So I watched that game, truthfully, Jeremy, in two different lights. As a JJ McCarthy fan and as a Vikings fan. Of course, I love JJ. From his time at Michigan, he's a national champion. And as I'm watching that game and I'm watching JJ McCarthy, he looked, maybe for the first time ever, and I've been watching him now for a long time, for 4 years total. And he looked like shook. I'll be honest, he did. He looked shook up. And, but then there was like a switch flipped where it was like, all right, like I've been here before. And when he threw that second touchdown and they took the lead, I knew the game was over. I knew the game was over. I think they were up 20. I think that put them up 24-16, maybe. And then I believe Chicago scored again. But yeah, I think on offense, JJ McCarthy just kind of took the game over, and he was kind of putting the ball wherever he wanted to. And then whenever he was putting the ball wherever he wanted to, that allowed it opened up the run game, as crazy as this sounds, for him. And he scored a rushing touchdown. That Vikings team has the potential to be really, really good. I also think that the Bears can be good. But I also think, too, with the Bears, kind of like we talked about with the Ravens, they kind of got caught whenever J.J. McCarthy kind of started to roll a little bit, and some of these passes that were, airmails or he was getting sacked in the third quarter there at the beginning of the third quarter. Whenever those passes started to get through and they turned into completions, Chicago got into one of those because, hey, if there's anybody in the league that's choked leads in the last 5-7 years, it's the Chicago Bears. And I think the Chicago Bears, in my opinion, fell into that, oh no, here we go again. And it got them caught.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. Now, I will say, Jordan Mason did a good job on Monday night. We expected him to just be the second string to Aaron Jones, and it turns out Mason led the team in rushing. So I'm really curious to see how that develops as the season goes on. Once again, the Bears had another tough loss, and they're coming off. This is a very emotional season for the Bears because you lost the late great Virginia McCaskey in January or in February, I'm sorry, and then you lost Steve Mongo McMichael earlier this year. So emotions are high. It's going to be a very powerful season. As far as week one goes, as far as the games go, I was enthralled. It was great. There was no real boring game. And I guess if your team's not doing great, that's the best thing you can ask for, is just to have good games all around. Another great game I will just give one more shout out to before we hit the halfway mark here. The Steelers and Jets. Aaron Rodgers versus Justin Fields. Aaron Rodgers, 41 years old. You couldn't tell. The old bastard was already the oldest active player. He looked great. Justin Fields looked great as well. It was just clutch defense by the Steelers that really ended up getting them that win. But overall, great game. Steelers win 34-32. Now, folks, as we just hit the half-hour mark here on our show, be sure to tune in. It is Roundabout Sports. I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Karp, alongside AB Austin Bradley. Thank you all for tuning in, whether you're tuning in on Facebook, X, Twitch, or our official Interstate 70 Sports Media YouTube channel. Be sure if you also can listen back on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pocket Cast, and all your other streaming platforms. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, X, and once again on the YouTube channel. Also, I want us to take a moment to talk about our main sponsor, Harsh Construction, LLC, with over 50 combined years of experience in outdoor landscaping and construction. They are the premier place for all of your home needs. Be sure to call for a free quote at 618-363-9818 to get your quote and get your home improved. Now, before we get into the St. Louis Cardinals, I want to say this is the time. We didn't do it last week, but it was also crazy last week. We were on a brief thing on Riverside. Well, it is time to bring back probably my favorite segment on this show. And it's always a fun one for me. And as soon as we do, after this segment, I know, Austin, you have a special announcement that you're going to want to make on behalf of us. So I definitely do want to do this first. This is a segment we do every week here on Roundabout Sports, ladies and gentlemen, throughout baseball season, called Just How Bad Do the Colorado Rockies Suck? Oh, man, I love this part. Okay, folks, so it is once again September 10th, 2025, and at this point in time, your 2025 Colorado Rockies are 40-105. They are 41 games out of the National League West, which they have been mathematically eliminated from contending in for weeks now. They are also 36 games out of the National League Wild Card, which they have been mathematically eliminated from contending in for weeks now. In fact, the only two teams that the Colorado Rockies, actually three teams that they have winning records against in the National League this season are the Miami Marlins, Washington Nationals, and St. Louis Cardinals. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, the Colorado Rockies do only need, I will give them this, they only need 2 more wins to pass the Chicago White Sox of last year to prevent being in baseball infamy. So they have that to look forward to. That said, the Colorado Rockies still suck. They are 40-105 as of this show, and I look forward to the next time we are Roundabout Sports so we can get another update on, once again, just how bad the Colorado Rockies suck.
Was it the White Sox last year?
See, Austin, welcome to the family. You got to have fun.
Was it the White Sox last year? I'm just curious. Was it just how bad the White Sox?
The White Sox last year finished 41-121. So unless somehow the Rockies don't win a single game, basically, or one game the rest of the season, they're going to pest Chicago. That said, holy crap, it is always fun. Okay, with that said, and we got a great crowd tuning in live on all of our social platforms. In fact, it's the largest crowd we've had tuning in live in about a month. With that said, AB, speaking of social media, you have an announcement as well.
Yeah. So as of probably either into this week, beginning of next week, somewhere in there, we are going to be launching a TikTok here at Interstate 70 Sports, where you can find clips and talking heads of all of your favorite Interstate 70 Sports media shows, including Roundabout Sports, the Elite Sports Show, the Main Event, and all of the other shows on this platform. I promise there will be more than just the shows I'm featured on, I swear. I just can't think of any of the other shows off the top of my head right now. But yes, everybody will get their fair share of time on our TikTok, and whenever that goes up, you will know from Jeremy or I, one of the two, and we will definitely give you the link to go and follow away. So, yeah, super excited to be doing that.
All righty. Well, you know what? I'll be sure to give our other shows that we have here a special shout out. Those include obviously the main event with Babs and Austin, or Austin and Babs, however we want to graphic it. Obviously, we have the great Blues Fan Forum podcast. And speaking of the Blues Fan Forum podcast, happy birthday, Jacob. We hope you have had a very blessed and very special birthday today. One of the anchors of that show. I've had a pleasure of knowing him for so long, and he and Dakota do a fantastic job on that program. Be sure to check it out every single week, folks. And there's so many places you can check them out all over social media. We also, I can announce that at the top of next month, Issues with Wrestling with Christopher Miles will start back up on Thursdays. At least Thursdays is the game plan, so I'm looking forward to that. I know that'll be great. And yeah, we got so many more great things ahead, folks. Also, be sure to also look at the Redbird Rundown podcast from Matt and Jonathan Smith. You can find that on all streaming platforms, but you can also especially find it on the Interstate 70 Sports Media. Wow, look at that YouTube channel. How about that? So be sure to check them out for all the latest and greatest in Cardinals news and discussion topics. And also, I want folks to also know about our dear friend Scott Plaza, because in addition to the amazing work, he is the lead Cardinal writer and editor of I-70 Sports Media. He also has himself a podcast that he does called Cardinals on My Time that he puts on it's on interstate70sports.media. That's interstate70sports.media. Cardinals on My Time with Scott Plaza. Has a lot of great guests, such as the Redbird Farmhands himself on there, and a lot of other great folks on social media who are associated with the Cardinals in any which way. Be sure to check him out as well. Speaking of the Cardinals, well, I can't necessarily do a segment called Just How Bad Do the 2025 St. Louis Cardinals Suck. I can do that as far as their disappointment, because right now they are 4.5 back of the wild card. They are 72 and 74. They are 16.5 back of the Milwaukee Brewers for the wild card. So yeah, it's Scott. What do you think or Austin? I know Scott's been talking about it, but Austin, what do you think the biggest thing with these Cardinals are that is so disappointing?
You know what? I think the craziest part about it, and this is just the game of baseball, they are 2 swings away in the last literally 2 swings away in the last 2 nights from being 2 games up and only 2.5 back in the wild card. I mean, that's the crazy thing about this race. The Cardinals, yes, they've been disappointing. I think their starting pitching has ran out of gas. But, and I know I had you shook up last week when I said this. They're still not out of it.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Definitely shook me up.
And I've seen. Listen, I know. Forgive me, but I've seen too many years where the Cardinal devil magic starts running, and all of a sudden you look up and they go from 1 game under to 12 games over, and they sneak in. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. Forgive me. I'm just saying the Mets are playing horrible, dude. The Mets are playing horrible. The Reds are not playing well anymore. The Giants are not playing well right now. It's not as crazy as it sounds. They're not going to win this series. Before this series, they had won 3 straight series. And think about this, Jeremy. They won a series against the team that's in front of them. They have a series against the Reds coming up. They have another series against the Giants. If the Mets continue to falter and it comes down to those 3 teams, which it kind of looks like it's going to, I'm just saying crazier stuff has happened, dude. He's clicking his mouse to kick me off. He's clicking his mouse to kick me off the podcast is what he's doing right now.
Where's the thing that says remove Austin from the studio? No, I'm kidding. This is the thing. The worst part about all of it is that you're not wrong. Like, that is the worst part, because I'm thinking to myself, damn, how many years have we been in this situation? In fact, the 2 biggest years we were in this situation, they won the World Series. Now, I don't personally have the health to be able to handle these close calls all these times. You know, that said, I look at the New York Mets. And you're absolutely right, because they went, after starting off hot in the beginning of the year, they went 11-17 in August. They are 3-5 so far in September, and they've also lost, once again, 4 straight. They have they're halfway through their 4-game series against Philly. Then they got the Rangers, Padres, and Nationals. I mean, yeah. They are definitely struggling. I look at the teams that are ahead of the Cardinals. You know, a lot of it comes into top 3 teams get the wild card. You already know the Cubs are going to the playoffs. The Padres are probably going as well. Then you look at the Mets. Mets should, if they stop getting in their own damn way. Then you go to the Cincinnati Reds. As long as the Reds don't, choke, they'll be in the playoffs. I look at the Arizona Diamondbacks. I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to make it. I think they falter. And then after the Diamondbacks, you got the Cardinals at 4.5 back, like we said. And like you said, 2 hits could literally put them in a completely different standpoint within this wild card race.
Both by
the Cardinals.
Both by Josh Naylor. I said both of those hits were by Josh Naylor. That is
true as well.
It was a bases clearing double Monday night and a 3-run homer last night.
Yep. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think. And the thing of it is, even if the Cardinals don't make the playoffs, which I don't think they will, but if they don't make, I don't think they will make the playoffs, but if they don't make the playoffs, I really don't think this has been all that disappointing of a season, considering the original expectations of this team.
Right.
The frequent terrible starting pitching that we've had to endure this season. But I think the funniest thing is the Cardinals, for having one of the worst ERAs in baseball, also have the fewest amount of different starting pitchers this season. So whether or not consistency is good or bad, the Cardinals are consistent in something.
Right.
And I take a look at a lot of the pieces of this team. There are a lot of great young players on this team, in this organization. And we're at the point now where they're starting to get big league playing reps, which I don't have an issue with. Because once again, if you don't make the playoffs, at least you have something to build off of.
Right.
Look at what you have around you. I will say this. I've said it in the beginning of the year when I had Ryan Bowman's, John Poe, and Andy Cockrell on. I had talked about this to them. I was high on Nolan Gorman. I said he's a good player. I think he's got a great future ahead. But, man, I never thought in a million years that he would be the best Nolan on the Cardinals.
Right.
And I'm sorry. You can hate me till the cows come home. He is right now the best performing Nolan on the Cardinals. And I'm not just saying that because Arenado's been injured.
Yeah, he was
Arenado was tough. Yeah, he was when Arenado was healthy, he was still struggling. He always at the plate. He was still doing good defensively, doing very good defensively, but he was struggling badly at the plate. Gorman has been doing really well at the plate, getting more reps in the field. The Cardinals have so many good young pieces on this team. I expect them to contend, over the course of these next few seasons, which if it means having these past this and the 2 seasons before being bad, you know what? It would be worth it. Because what's funny is, we definitely are spoiled by a great franchise. A lot of success. And look, we're still second in baseball history in World Series titles. So what does that tell you? So with all of that said, Austin, I know you say it's not over and you still think they have a shot. But let me ask you this. Do you really think the Cardinals will make the playoffs this year?
No. No, I don't. I love to.
I wouldn't judge you if you said yes, but I just had to ask.
I'd love to play devil's advocate, but I still think I said this on an episode of the Elite Sports Show a few weeks ago when Jordan and I were talking about the Cardinals. I just don't think I still am of the mindset that they're gonna have to go on a little bit of a win streak. And I said this then. I don't think it needs to be 10 games. I think right now, with the way the Mets are playing, 5 or 6 would be enough. But I don't think they have that in them.
It could. My problem is I think they need. If it was just the Mets we had to worry about struggling, then by all means, sure. But you got 4 teams that you have to hope fall off. You got to hope the Reds fall off. You got to hope the Diamondbacks fall off. You got to hope the Giants and the Mets. Because as of now, those are the 4 teams ahead of you for that final spot. So the odds are definitely stacked against them beyond belief. But we'll see what happens. I just know that I'll give the Cardinals this. They're not going down without a fight. And at the end of the day, that's all I could ask for. Now, I'll say this much. The best way for them to exceed expectations, and I never thought I'd have to say that for the sake of a Cardinals team, but finish over 500. This team was predicted to win maybe 70 games this year, 75. So if they go out there and win, 83, 84, maybe even 85 games, I think you're building. This is about building off something.
Right.
Because
right.
There's a lot of transitional pieces. The Cardinals nailed the draft last year and this year. And it's because of that they are in a better position than they normally would be in. And so I don't think they make the playoffs. But I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see how this season plays out. And I know every week we'll be talking more and more about it. But I want to switch gears now because I know wrestling is something that's associated with multiple shows here on I-70 on our network. Yeah. There is something that came out earlier that I figured you have either heard about or would want to talk about. Okay. And that is about Saudi Arabia. And that is the fact that earlier today, the Saudi Arabian government accidentally leaked a press release that would say that WrestleMania 43 in 2027 will be held in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Okay. Because this is a fast thing I want to get through. Austin, I'm going to say this in the nicest, most calmest, sincere way. Just how pissed off are you?
About WrestleMania being in Saudi Arabia?
just the fact that now, I mean, it's not that it's going to be in Vegas next year again. So New Orleans got screwed out of it.
Okay.
That it's going to be in Saudi Arabia in 2027, which will hinder which alienates a huge audience, obviously. And you know, we already know there's a lot of controversy around all that. So just take me through your thoughts on this.
You know what excites me the most about it?
What?
We might finally get Undertaker versus Yokozuna.
Boy.
Do you remember that from the first time they went to? Do you remember all that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
And it was no. I'm glad I knew the reference because I'm like, oh gosh, you really brought it up. Well, there is a good thing for the talent though, because they also get an 80-man battle royal now.
Yeah, as long as they don't trip and all fall under the ring on their way down. It's been nice working for the I-70 Sports. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway,
no.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think some silver lining here is because of the star power that they like to take to those Saudi shows. I think the matches will be pretty good. But yeah, I don't like the idea of it being. I don't like the idea of WrestleMania starting at 11 in the morning. Just to tell you the truth, like WrestleMania Sunday, I'm not even gonna get to watch that. I'll be at church. So
yeah, unless the pastor in the middles during the middle of his sermons praying for a near fall.
But in all seriousness, you know, I would have been more. I would have if you're going to take WrestleMania out of the United States, which that in itself I don't have an issue with. I would have liked to have seen it go to London or to France or one of these insane crowds, you know, not Saudi Arabia. And no offense to Saudi Arabia, I guess, but like if you're going to take WrestleMania out of the United States, give it to one of these crowds that absolutely Lyon, France at Backlash had a freaking earthquake a couple years ago because it was so loud in that building. They shook the ground. And I mean, again, my issue isn't as much with Saudi Arabia as it is the other places outside of the U.S. that didn't get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm thinking London, you could have Wembley Stadium, you could have in France, you could have it in
Melbourne,
Scotland. Yeah. You know, there's so many other. Have it. Bring it back to Toronto. WrestleMania 18 was electric in Toronto. There's so many places. So I just had to throw that out there. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about before we call it a night here on Roundabout Sports, we're going to quickly delve into this because it is another football thing, but what the hell? Why not? It's a fun one. MIZ. Oh, son of a. This is what happens when your co-host is a Michigan fan. ZOU. It's fine, folks. The border war from this past Saturday. Folks, Mizzou goes out there and they take on Kansas for the first time since 2011. We had talked about it last week, the excitement heading into it. And Kansas came out firing.
Yeah, they did.
They were up 21-6. Like, they were not screwing around. And you know what? That's good. I want a good game. And, man, did Bro Pribula give us a good game. You know, and Ahmad Hardy, all this Mizzou Tigers team going out there and lighting it up. And back and forth, it was just a great game all around. And now, and Mizzou won. They're ranked 25 in the nation now. They won 42-31. And honestly, any quick thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, that game was super fun, dude. Bo Pribula is the real deal. And I'm not a Mizzou fan. I am a Michigan fan, but I'm going to tell Mizzou fans right now, you have got a very good quarterback. And I'm going to be honest, this is a team that can compete in the SEC. There are going to be a lot of people, and even some Mizzou fans that are going to tell you that they can't. Yeah, they are full of crap. Bo Pribula absolutely stepped up to the challenge and knocked it out of the park. And I know that's a baseball pun talking about football, but man, Kansas went up 21-6 quick. Like, can we talk about that? Like, it was 6-0 Mizzou. And then it was like I walked into the kitchen to make a thing of popcorn and then walked back and it was 21-6. I mean, it probably wasn't literally that quick, but it was quick. And Pribula did not panic. He didn't freak out. He accepted the challenge. And I want to read his stat line off because it's freaking stupid. 30 for 39 with 334 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jalen Daniels wasn't bad either. He threw 18 for 30 with 223, 2 touchdowns, and then he had that game-sealing interception there at the end. But, guys, listen, I understand that Mizzou has broken their own fans' hearts so many times in the last decade and a half. You know, back when they first moved to the SEC, you know, at the end of their Big 12 days, you know, when they lost to Oklahoma in the Big 12 title game. Of course, the last couple of years, it seems like they've been, and I'm curious to get your opinion on this, Jeremy. It feels like they've been one loss away, like 2 or 3 years in a row now. Like one too many losses. This Mizzou team can compete. Listen, they're going to have a really, really, really good opportunity here in just a couple weeks when they're going to host South Carolina. And I'm telling you right now, I'm picking the Tigers. I like Tommy Cat. I'm picking the Tigers. I like Lenora Sellers, but this Mizzou team and Bo Pribula, he's been tested. I'm telling you, Mizzou's the real deal. Mizzou is the real deal.
All right. Well, before I wrap it up, I'm going to give you the floor. Do one last plug of all your shows, everything you got, and I'll pop back on and we'll close it out, my friend.
Yep. Yeah. So again, guys, super pumped to be be here with I-70 Sports Media and to bring you guys the Elite Sports Show. That's going to be Friday mornings. Probably 8 Central is when it will be officially uploaded. And then Monday through Friday, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, Twitch, Facebook, anywhere you can find it. The Daily Roundup. It's a 30-minute show. We hit 1 or 2 of the top stories in sports for that day. And yeah, super pumped to be here. Super, super pumped to be here. And I cannot thank Jeremy and the gang enough.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up here on Roundabout Sports. Now, as always, once again, you can find Roundabout Sports on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, all over streaming platforms. For the NAMI helpline, dial 1-800-950-NAMI. That's 1-800-950-NAMI. The National Alliance of Mental Illness is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to building better lives for those who struggle with mental illness. And today it's especially important because Wednesday, September 10th is World Suicide Prevention Day. And as always, at the end of every show, and we've done this for years now, for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, you can dial 988. The line is open 24/7, 365. 366 on leap years. Understand you are never alone in this world. There is always somebody out there who loves you, who cares about you, who wants nothing but the best for you. We all go through our struggles, our trials, our tribulations, and that doesn't mean they got to be faced alone. You are just as important, and your feelings always matter. Right. You're just a phone call, a text message, an appointment away from perhaps that life-saving moment that you need. And you can be the listening ears and watchful eyes for someone else in need as well. Once again, I want to thank my good friend Austin Bradley, AB, for joining us this week once again. And I look forward to next week for episode 145 of Roundabout Sports. Until then, he's AB. I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Karp. And remember, life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your lives worth reading. Good night, everybody.